All right, today we are diving into a really critical medical condition. It's something that acts like a hidden roadblock inside our own circulatory system. We're talking about obstructive shock. So let's approach this like we're solving a puzzle. A lot of the time when we talk about shock, the problem is pretty straightforward. Either the heart, the pump is failing, or the body's low on fluid. But what if neither of those is the problem? I want you to just picture this for a second. You have a patient, their heart is beating strong, and they have plenty of blood circulating. But for some reason, their body's tissues are starving for oxygen. Circulation is failing, but why? It's a total paradox, and it points to a totally different kind of bad guy, one that's physically standing in the way. Well, the answer to that whole puzzle? It has a name. It's called obstructive shock. So let's unmask this thing and figure out what it's all about. Okay, here's the absolute key. This is not about a weak pump or an empty tank. Obstructive shock is a mechanical problem. Something is physically blocking or literally squeezing the cardiovascular plumbing, and that's what's stopping the blood from getting where it needs to go. And the best analogy for this is just a simple garden hose. The spigot, that's our heart, is on full blast. There's plenty of water, our blood, but if someone steps on the hose and puts a kink in it, the water stops flowing. It's really that simple and that dangerous.
Okay, so let's play detective for a minute. These obstructions, they tend to fall into two big categories. We're going to start with the first one, conditions where the heart itself is getting squeezed from the outside.
So here we've got two classic examples, right? Pericardial tamponade, that's when blood fills up the little sac around the heart, and a tension pneumothorax, that's when air pressure builds up in the chest. Now, they're caused by different things, blood versus air, but look at the mechanism. They do the exact same thing. They create this external pressure that squeezes the heart and its major blood vessels, making it impossible for blood to get in or out. And if we look a little closer at that tamponade, you can see this terrifying chain reaction. It happens fast. First, blood starts filling up that sac. Then the heart gets squeezed so tight it literally can't expand to fill up with blood between beats. When that happens, the flow of blood back to the heart, what we call venous return, just nosedives. And, well, the result is inevitable, right? The heart can't pump out blood it never received, and cardiac output just completely collapses. Okay, so that was the squeeze from the outside. But what if the obstruction is actually on the inside? Let's dig into the second major cause, when the blood flow is blocked from within one of the big vessels. And our prime suspect here is something you've probably heard of, a pulmonary embolism. This isn't a squeeze at all. It's a blockage. It's a blood clot that has broken free and gotten stuck in a supercritical artery that leads straight to the lungs. So let's break that down. A clot gets loose, it travels through the bloodstream, and then bam, it gets wedged in an artery that feeds the lungs. This creates like a physical dam. It stops blood from getting to the one place it needs to go to pick up fresh oxygen. And the result? It's a massive traffic jam. Blood backs up into the right side of a heart, which just isn't built to handle that kind of pressure, and the whole system just grinds to a halt. So we've looked at squeezes from the outside and blocks from the inside. After going through all these different culprits, what's the one single most important idea to take away from all this? It really all boils down to this. The core takeaway is that the problem isn't the pump and it isn't the fluid. It's the plumbing, plain and simple. It doesn't matter if it's a squeeze from something like tamponade or a clog from an embolism. The fundamental issue is a physical obstruction that has to be removed. The heart could be perfectly healthy, the blood volume could be perfect, but none of that matters if the pipes are blocked. And, that leaves us with a really critical question. We know it's a mechanical problem. It's either a squeeze or a block. But think about it. How you fix those two things is completely different. Relieving a squeeze might mean taking a needle and physically draining that pressure, but treating a block might mean using powerful clot-busting drugs. Recognizing which one you're dealing with, well, that's the absolute key. It's what turns this deadly puzzle into a solvable problem.